For this week, we will start a new chapter, and that chapter is little bit easy. For we are now for till last week we are studying about some basic things from biology like tissues, cell, and all. So to get some relief, we will go to another chapter, that is why do we fall ill. So why we are getting these diseases. So before entering to this chapter, we know that we all the humans in this universe, sorry, inside this earth, we are getting diseases. Not even for humans, animals, plants, all of them are getting diseases. So why we are getting diseases exactly, it is unknown, but only one thing know that it is the life cycle of that particular organism. And now in this situation also we are running through one of the diseases, which is total shutdown, that is known as coronavirus. So coronavirus spreading from one person to another, it means that the coronavirus is undergoing reproduction, and that reproductive virus, that virus which is formed of the reproduction is transferring from one place, one person to another. That is the meaning they're running. So still now we don't know why we are getting these diseases. And if you're going through this WHO, the World Health Organization, which is coming under the UN, so they are controlling the health of the entire world. They are making policies. Through those policies, each and every country will take a decision, impact that, input that policies to the particular countries. It depends upon just the country status, financial needs, then total number of populations, areas, everything. So WHO is the main organization that is controlling the health of the entire organisms in this world. So they have different separate sections for plants, animals, and humans. WHO is having. So according to this WHO, the health means. So this definition is given by WHO in 1948, soon after the end of the Second World War, after 3 years after the Second World War. The health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. That is a definition that is given by the World Health Organization. Every time we will say that disease means whenever getting fever or some viral infections. No. So if we are not physically, socially, and mentally, if we are not fit, that condition is called as health. And in 1986, that is made little further clarification. A resources of everyday life, not the objective of living. Health is a positive concept emphasizing social and personal resources as well as the physical capacities. The same thing, but they have just redefined it by putting some psychological things also inside in the modern terms. In the modern term, they redefined that terms. So in 2009, uh, there is some researchers from the published in the Lancet. The health has the ability of a body to adapt to a new threat and infirmities. That is also called as in the healthy condition. But whatever it is, we are getting some sort of disease to our body, either physically, mentally, or socially. We are disturbed here and there. Sometime, most of the times in our cases, it is by the infection by through some bacteria or virus, etc. So first we have to see what are the systems that is present in our body that protect against this diseases. So those systems together we will call it as immune system. Immune means put a barrier or fight against, that is the meaning. So whenever a bacteria or virus that is coming inside us, which is generally considered as pathogens, which can cause some disease, they are considered as whatever is coming from outside, they're pathogens, and which is considered as antigens. Antigens are the substances that are coming out from the human body, from a particular body, and which can boost an immune system. That means which activates the immune system inside us. They are known as the antigens, and these antigens are also called as pathogens. So we are having many pathogens in the form of bacteria, in the form of virus, protozoans, fungus, and even as a proteins, which is known as prions, Creutzfeldt's disease. There are a lot of things are there. So the first immunity that we'll get thing that comes to play is known as the white blood cell, and here I have shown a diagram just for your understanding. That means a white blood cell that is attacking an anthrax bacteria, that is in orange color they have given. It is our latest updates, latest of pictures. It is found earlier times we don't have these type of pictures to study, so they are known as the that yellow color structures, they are known as the leukocytes or white blood cells. So the inside these white blood cells we have different parts are involved, different parts in the body are responsible for that. So where they grow, and white blood cells and RBCs both are formed from bone marrow, and some of these white blood cells got matured in thymus. Thymus is a gland that is a gland between the lungs, and that means just below the neck. That is that. One is to the spleen, and another one is bone marrow. Then is a lymph node, and there are two main types of leukocytes are there. One is known as the phagocytes. Phagos means eating, cell eating, and inside that we are having neutrophils. We had discussed this in the connective tissue, that is blood. Neutrophils, these are the neutrophil is a common phagocyte that is present inside the blood that attacks against bacteria. Then we have monocytes, the largest cell. Then we have macrophages itself, which itself the function is attacking the cells, and the mast cells. So their best job is whenever heal the wounds and whenever these antigens are coming out, they secrete some chemicals and kill them. And there's one more thing, these mast cells are responsible for some type allergy also. Allergy means sometimes when the dust comes in continuously, if it dust comes in, body knows it is a dust, but some condition is not like that. As soon as the dust comes, these mast cells will get active, and they secrete some chemicals known as histamines, and which causes some allergic reactions in our body. Next is lymphocytes. Lymphocytes means these particular lymphocytes are growing inside the lymph nodes, mainly inside the lymph nodes. So there are two types of lymphocytes are there. One is known as the T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes. These, why they have given B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, because B lymphocytes, its origin, that means the area of production, that means formed area is from bone marrow, and it get matured from the bone marrow itself. Why it has to get matured? Because a particular B cell and T cell, that means all the cells that is responsible for immunity, they must know the self cells. If they don't know the self cells, automatically they go and kill our cells also. So some such conditions known as autoimmune disorders are also seen. So these B cells are produced, it is a last type of defense that is present in our body against this. They are very powerful. So B cells and T cells, they are responsible to give the defense line. And next comes is diseases and infection. So we must know what is an infection and what is a disease. Infection is the first step. That means when the bacteria is entering into that particular first step is known as infection. When these infections started to affect the main organ parts or nearby organ parts in our body, we will call it as diseases. And there are two systems, similar two things that comes from when the infection and diseases comes, that is signs and symptoms. Signs and symptoms. So when we are coming to the signs and symptoms, it is a symptoms and signs are used for the identification. So these the symptoms means what are the conditions you are having at present when you got diseases, and from these symptoms there will be very crucial parts of symptoms will be there, which is called as signs, can be lead to a particular disease. For example, when we get fever, when we go to the doctor, we will say that I have severe headache, severe body pain, sometimes vomiting, diarrhea, that is loose motion. These are called as symptoms. From that the doctor will see the main thing. Okay, he is having severe headache. Okay, one sign. Next sign, he is having body pain, body temperature is high. From that he will come to a conclusion that this is a viral or bacterial. So these are, that is a difference between signs and symptoms. So what are the different types of diseases we are getting? One is known as the infectious disease and non-infectious disease. Infectious disease means which can be spread from one person to another. Non-infectious disease means which cannot be spread from one person to another. And pathogens are the external, which can cause a disease. And then we have vectors also. Vectors are carriers. For example, malaria, the carrier of this malaria, that is plasmodium, which causes malaria, is mosquito. So vectors are organisms which carries the pathogens, but they will never undergo any disease. Mosquitoes, we have not heard that mosquitoes got malaria, so they are known as the vectors. And different types of microorganisms that can cause disease. One is bacteria. Bacteria are is also a pathogen. There are many bacterial diseases are there, like cholera, typhoid, pneumonia. Viral diseases are there. Viruses are neither living nor non-living. So but soon they find a host, they started to replicate and they started to do its cellular mechanism, and we will get disease. And we have many fungal diseases also in our body, like ringworm infections, nail infections, and in winter time we will get some fungal infections on our skin also. It is very common, it is natural ones. And some of them are parasitic in nature. That means they live inside the host. They will take the food and protection from the host, and it started to multiply. This parasite start to multiply and leads to the host body into disease conditions. And these are infectious example for the infectious diseases, that is HIV, AIDS, AIDS, malaria is infectious, plague is infectious. So these diseases are generally considered as which can be spread from one person to another. And how it is spread from one person to another, what are the different methods of spreading, what are the methods to prevent that. So we will discuss this in next week's class. Thank you, and if there is any doubt, please comment below wherever I am posting this video. Thank you. Next, under the category why do we fall ill from this chapter, there are two important areas we have to study. One is treatment and another one is prevention. The term is very clear and simple. For example, we all humans are prone to disease. That means we all will get some type of disease. It can be viral, it can be fungus, bacteria. So it will go. It can, we will get diseases when we are moving from one place to another, or when climatic changes, weather changes, sometimes food, sometimes when we come to some areas, some room, uh, etc. Many ways we will get disease. That means we will not be healthy according to the terms of WHO. So what is happening is, getting a fever is different and getting a Jaundice is different. Fever, what is the case of the fever is, the fever will come, normal fever, which is caused by the rhinovirus, normal fever which is come to us, it will be there for 6 to 7 days, a week, for a week or two, then it will, normally it will get cured. But when we are coming to the hepatitis or jaundice, what the problem is, when we get these disease, conformly the person will die. This person will die. So it is very difficult. That means we are losing a human life, and this jaundice is spreading. Best example for this is coronavirus, which is running in this time. Why people are saying that we need vaccine against this virus? Why? Because normally whenever a viral infection comes to a body, for example chickenpox is also caused by a class of virus known as varicella zoster. That is a biological name given to that virus. So when we get chickenpox, once a chickenpox comes to us, it will cause body pain, will get boils, etc., and it will go after 20 days or 20, after 21 days, okay, leave it 1 month, after 1 month that particular person will cure. Once it is cured, we will get immune. Hardly less than 1% of the people will get chickenpox again. But some viruses are not like that. For example, coronavirus, when we think about this coronavirus, and the same thing like HIV AIDS also, HIV AIDS, coronavirus, and some protozoans are also causing disease, for example malaria. So what is coming, making a main issue why the people are saying that we need vaccine or we need something to be there before it infects us? Because once it is infected, the guarantee of survival is very very rare. For example, you take the condition of jaundice. Once a jaundice get infected, this jaundice organism is killing the liver, human liver. Once the human liver is damaged, then full body physiology will be disturbed. So that will cause a death, a sudden death, or some chronic type of ill effects to our body. So in order to avoid that, we need disease, we need vaccines, etc. So for a particular disease there are two phases are there. For example, two phases are there. One is known as the prevention. That means getting prevented before we are getting that particular disease. After sometimes we have not prevented from that, we got disease, then comes the treatment. It depends upon the intensity of the disease. For a common flu or a fever, we don't want any medicines, sorry, we don't want any vaccine. So everybody knows that once it has come, it will be there for 4 5 or 7 days or 2 weeks. Okay, 7 after 7 days again, that is not just that our system is not cooperating. If you take some antibiotic, that antibiotic is the treatment for that particular disease, then it will cure from the body. But serious diseases, we have to prevent it before the infection. Coronavirus is the best example. Coronavirus is causing mass infection plus death, but conditions will change from area to area, person to person. So these are the two main principle in disease. Either we have to prevent the disease before coming or before hitting, or protect from the particular disease. Am I clear? So there are two principles are there. First principle is the principle of treatment and the principle of prevention. Treatment will be given after particular disease. after a particular disease. So in this particular disease, according to the part of the treatments, there are a lot of things are available. For example, medicines will be given, and they will be asked to take a good food which is rich in vitamins and minerals. Or sometimes they may be saying that you take only uh, some, don't take much solid food, take food in liquid form, that is lukewarm food like pork, etc. In some conditions, whenever we are getting some stomach problems, they will ask to take some probiotics. Probiotics means, it means curd or something. You take it so that the microorganism that is present inside the curd, that is lactic bacillus, that also will helps in digestion. So that will do the digestion part. And whenever you are doing taking this treatment, try to avoid this, try to avoid that. So these are the parts of treatment. And whenever this treatment is coming, when the treatment is given according to the organism, that means one particular antibiotic may be not helpful for treat all the diseases. For example, I will give you one best example. Whenever a dog bites, so there is a chance that whenever these dog humans, sometimes humans are not coming in a very rare scenario cases to spread of rabies, then bat, etc. When they bite us, normally we will say that you have to go and take anti-rabies injections, which is a part of the treatment. Okay, for example, you think like that. A place is there, maybe a nearest hospital or a foot-fetched hospital is around 20 kilometers away or 15 kilometers away. So what they will do? So in that condition, doctors are doing one thing. They will give TT. There's one injection is there, tetanus injection is there, known as TT. So this TT will be given. Then they will say that within particular time, because TT is having some time limits, it can prevent, thus if rabies is there, it can stop the prevention for 2 to 3 hours. Within this 2 to 3 hours, you have to go to that particular hospital and get the anti-rabies injection. So according to the organism, different steps we have taken. So one of such thing is known as the antibiotics. Antibiotics mainly comes in the form of injections and in the form of tablets. And anti means against, biotics means against life. That means which is fighting against this bacteria, generally classified as antibiotics. So these antibiotics are also given according to the treatment. That means if they find out that this particular person is infected with best example, yeah, high fever, high fever. So most of the doctors will recommend amoxicillin. So it can kill a broad spectrum of antibiotics that is causing infection, that is causing this uh, fever. But whenever we are getting tonsils over here, tonsils also can cause to some infection. That time they will give azithromycin tablets, like azithromycin, etc. So each and every organism, they have given different types of antibiotic. All the antibiotics will never effectively work in all the conditions. One of the best example is penicillin. Penicillin was the first antibiotic that was discovered by Alexander Fleming. And when this antibiotic was discovered, this antibiotic was used for everybody. So in that time when this antibiotic was discovered, that time it gave immunity, that means a resistance to all the people that is in and around that particular area. But after sometimes they have found that this penicillin is not finding some effects in some persons. Some persons are trying to get allergic, so they have to find out another source. So these changes will takes place from person to person, and the treatment will vary from disease to disease. For example, burning is also considered as a disease. That means burning means physiology, physically you are not well. So according to the WHO, it is considered as a disease. For the treatment of burning is different. The treatment for fever is different. Treatment for cancer is different. Treatment for stomach pain is different. Treatment for kidney is different. Treatment for heart is different. So each and everywhere this will be keep on changing. So this you have to keep in mind. This is the major thing that is coming under the principle of treatment. And next one is prevention. Prevention means before getting this disease, prevent it. So there, it is a 90 percentage of the prevention is in the human hands. That means cleanliness, any type of cleanliness. Hand wash is the basic cleanliness. Hand wash, then washing the cloth properly, around the surroundings. If there is any type of infections around you, remove factors that is responsible to cause that infection. These are the main things, but that is everything. It depends upon even after all this doing, if you got infection, there's a chance. So there the science has developed a system known as vaccination, otherwise known as immunization. Vaccination is a part of immunization. Immunization means getting resistance. So vaccination is a part of immunization, and vaccination was first, the father of vaccinology or father of vaccine is Edward Jenner. Since Edward Jenner is the first person to make vaccine against smallpox and given to the society. So they boosted the immunity and the smallpox was prevented. And smallpox is the first disease that was eradicated from the face of the earth. Thanks to Edward Jenner, who found out the solution for that. He was not a doctor also. It was a normal. Same way for the mosquitoes. In the rainy time, the malaria, dengue, those type of diseases are possible to come. So how to prevent this? Keep our surroundings clean. There should not be any stagnant waters. There should not be any source for the malarias, and cooler and everything should be left of dried. So nowadays we can know that from the municipalities and the panchayats, people are coming from in door to door and checking there is the source for the mosquitoes to grow. And it is one of the major diseases that through mosquito as a vector, major disease that is taking place in developing countries like India, Africa. So lot of malaria is a common disease. India is so far better when we compare to Africa. Once you go to Africa, if you don't get malaria, then we can't survive there. That much of mosquitoes and contaminations are there. So like this, these are the main methods to prevent from any type of diseases. So if you want to prevent from fire, you have to away from fire. If you want to prevent from an acid fall, you have to take its precautionary measures. So like that, for each and everything, this precautionary measures will be keep on changing. So this is a main principle behind this. So I request everybody to read this and understand this, what is the principle with this, and any doubts, please let me know. I will help you out. Thank you.